Recap. Got abandoned from my family. Naruto ran across Missionary High School, flew over an ocean, and plastered into a van with adequate space for 15 people. Arrived in the middle of nowhere, only to be introduced by an active volcano and Kris Kringle. Oh, what a great place to leave off on. Hello everybody, I'm Shlub, and I was a missionary in the Philippines for 2 years, but you guys don't care about that. What you do care about is the pig, but in order to know about the pig, you gotta know the background story. In order to know the background story, you gotta know the little bit about how I got there. So here it is, boom. Hey, within the home of the person in charge, we all got our respective assignments. I got assigned to the Ligao area of the mission in a little municipality called Libon. Get this. Ligao, Libon, in English, would translate to lost and confused. Lost and confused! What? How fitting it is. It seems like God is already spiting me on my first day in service. For those of you who do not know me, this is my story. God one day was like, I'm having a bad day. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to make a joke to cheer myself up. And boom, I was the product. and this is just evidence of it. After that, I met my first companion who sounded like an incomprehensible Yogi Bear. There we go, and boo-boo. I relied heavily on dabbing and charades in my first conversation with my partner, who was about to be stuck with me for the subsequent months. You keep in mind, you cannot let your assigned companion leave out of sight or out of sound. It's the rule. So you can make sure your bro isn't like kicking puppies or stabbing something or, you know, getting into trouble like, you know, boys do. And so we crashed the night at this local motel compact room thing where my compadre, no joke, sleep punched me all night. Stop. Usually people want to get to know me before they punch me. The next morning, St. Nicholas spread his Christmas joy on us all, and we departed to the boondocks we were designated for. While looking for transportation, my companion just pointed to a sea of weird Jeep aluminum public transportation things and was like, there. Okay, we're going. We bolted through all of this insanity and then stopped at one of these random Jeeps where my comp was like, let's get on aboard, boo-boo. And I was like, okay. And then boom, my head hits the Jeep. Once of millions of about to plague my white guy existence in this country. I was not built for the Philippines. I am a 6'3" guy with a slouch that makes me 6'2", but I'm not telling you that. And this country was just not meant for me. I scampered in the jeepney, as it is called, as it hurled us towards our next destination. I progressively got more and more worried as the houses got less and less, and made of less, for that matter, until we arrived at this little podunk place, and I was greeted by an abandoned hospital, which is a welcome surprise. A beautiful sight of beautiful. It was beautiful. What added to my surprise was when my companion told me that the first floor was also the church building. Nice. Our apartment was the tallest building in the town, ranking it at a total of 3 floors. It also happened to be next door to the hospital, which made my night super fun to say the least. I cover more on that later, especially the time when we showered there. I dropped my luggage off at the apartment and my buddy was like, hey, let's go. Yeah, all I could muster was sure. So we went outside, got on some weird public motorcycle taxi thing with the sidecar. To me, Mr. City Boy, I was just overwhelmed with the immense expanse of rice and bamboo huts. All of this all at once made it feel quite surreal. I just hallucinating. After an abrupt halt of the motor, I snapped out of a state that could only be described as what the heck, and stepped off the motor. And then adding to my already disoriented state, we arrived at a river. Building on this confusion, my companion was like, time to walk through. There are souls to save, boo-boo. And I was like, okay. Cross the river. Yeah. Cross the river. I want to know who the first missionary was that crossed this river. Like, who walks up to a river and is like, yeah, sure, let's cross this. Sounds good. You got my stamp of approval. You know that's what you do with rivers. Yeah, no, it's not what you do. It's just rivers. And then eggplants, I kid you not, are floating down the river. What is... After my third existential crisis in the past week, I pull up my pants and walk the river. It did not get eaten by the alligators. JK, there was none, I think. After several minutes of walking into the middle of the jungle, it starts pouring, adding to my already river-soaked self. Great. Once we arrived at this little place, maybe you know what it's called, the Nowhere, we beheld a humble shack. Taupo. a person came out and started conversing with my companion in a language they did not teach us. Like, literally, it was a different language. Not like, oh, yeah, it was a different language because I suck at learning. No. This was a different language than what they taught us. It was called Bicolano, which there's many different languages in the Philippines. It's just some weird ancient tribal. You don't care about that part. But anyway, so they're speaking in this, and at this point, I was in the pit of disarray. The river, the language, abandoned hospital, why Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself were all preoccupying my thoughts. My companion went on and on and on while I sat doe-eyed trying to process how many diseases I contracted while treading that river. God thought it would be hilarious if he added to my delusion and was like,
chicken.
A chicken just walks out of the shack and just jumps into her pots and pans and just starts having a party. I was bewildered. More at the fact that they didn't care that a chicken was crapping in their pots and pans. But a chicken. It's a chicken. A she. The lesson ended and the rest of the day flew by, and I don't remember anything past the chicken giving me a brain aneurysm. The next couple of days were just great. I had an American companion who helped give me the ins and outs of the country, but nothing could prepare me for this soon-to-be highlight of my week. Yes, after all of that, there is still more that occurred in my first week. So one day, my roommate was like, let's buy a pig. And everyone else was like, sure, yeah, that sounds like it's a pig. Is this allowed? Is this allowed? I don't know. Sure, just don't let the big cheese know. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, why not? Yeah, sounds good. Anyway, so we went up to one of the local members' bamboo houses, chilling on top of the mountain. It was actually really pretty. You could see the river, rice fields, until they just dropped this bag off. Huh? What's that? And then the bag started moving. It was the pig. The pig was just wrestling in this little bag until little nose started poking out. I was told to guard the pig. So, me and the pig were just chilling, making memories, being buds, till I thought, I don't actually want to eat this. Oh, no, the pig. The bag just started rustling even more, and the pig John Cena its way out of the bag. I was so frightened, I jumped on my new little buddy, telling him to calm down, and that the bacon that they were mentioning inside was just the dough, and not his rear end. To no avail, he kept his struggle. When everyone noticed the poor white dude wrestling this pig, everything became super chaotic all at once, and I hear the words, hurry, get the martillo. No, not the hammer. They picked up the hammer while I was still holding my little buddy, and they brought the hammer down into the final board into the pig's house. The pig was overjoyed we built such a great house and flew away overjoyed into the sky, leaving some of its food behind for us to cook and eat. What? That's how it happens. Anyway, the pig's house was built in one swoop of the hammer. It was tough to get the pigs food present, so we had to boil water and use spoons. Yes, boiling spoons to pierce this epidermis. They separated the brown gushy stuff like the kidneys, the intestine, the guts, and the blood into another pot while I just sat there traumatized at what the heck happened to my new friend. I mean, how fun he must be having, flying. Then we took the meat and dug a pit, built the fire, put the meat in the pit, and then covered the pit with giant banana leaves. That's prime cooking for y'all. Take notes. So the prime cooking, 100% the best cooking you could ever get. It's great. After that, the posse all gathered around the table, along with the cutest puppy ever, and we dug in. The food was actually really good, and sharing a pig with the whole neighborhood was quite the treat. While I was eating, I was craving something sweet. Luckily, somebody brought some chocolate pudding, which I loaded up on my plate. I guess you could say we were pigging out.
Nobody thinks you're funny.
I started digging into the chocolate pudding. Nani the heck is this? That was not chocolate pudding. In one bite, my mouth was coated in what could only be described as a dry, metallic, rough, black mashup. It was not good. And I hit the point of no return. In Filipino culture, once you put something on your plate, you eat it, or you offend the person who made the food. And I had a heaping helping on my plate. So I quickly decided to plan to eat little bites at a time, and then hurry and shove large chunks to the little cute puppy I mentioned earlier. After an agonizing couple of bites and dexterity saves, I completed the great ordeal of eating food. I then realized this chocolate pudding came from the pot that I mentioned earlier.
Brown gushy stuff like the kidneys, the intestine, the guts, and the blood into another pot.
They literally just put all of this gunk into a boiling pot. Wow, this actually looks like crap. Yeah, let's eat it. Yeah, sure, it's tasty. So yeah, that was my traumatic first week, and the diarrhea hadn't even hit me yet. Anyway, thanks for watching. Okay, first off, so I hope you enjoyed my first week as much as I did, looking back on it, not living it because it was a little tough, but hey, that's life. If you have any suggestions or comments, just holla. Yeah, that's all I got. Well, if you endured this far, well, then you have some guts of your own, to say the least. Well, I guess I'll play some bloopers at the end of this, just so you guys can hear some bloopers. Yeah. Oh, like they say in Brooklyn, early bird gets the bagel. Go and do something with your life. Not like me.
Let's do this. Okay, everybody, it's me. I'm like the right temperature right now. It's not temperature because I'm in a recording studio. All right, everybody, it's me. It's gonna have a great time. It's gonna be great. It's gonna have the stuff. Got abandoned for my family, Naruto ran crap that suck balls. Only to be introduced by an active volcano and Chris Kringle. Okay, that was a good suck. All right, everybody, recap. Nope. All right, everybody.